Now, Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula says investors have knocked on his door in a bid to acquire a stake in the Airports Company of South Africa. The national asset operates the country's major airports. But Minister Mbalula says ACSA is not for sale. For more on this, we are joined by Mbalula's spokesperson, Lwaphesheya Khoza. Thank you so much for your time, Lwazi. We do appreciate it. Let's just start off with what is actually up for sale and what have investors indicated that they are interested in?
Thank you very much and good afternoon, Heidi. So there was an approach that was fielded to the Department of Transport as well as the Airports Company of South Africa to purchase the smaller airports that are not within the big three airports, which is OR Tambo, King Shaka and Cape Town international airports. So we are aware that there are regional airports that are managed by ACSA as well as provincial governments to ensure that there is the free flow and easy access into provinces. So there was an approach and a request to purchase those particular airports. However, ACSA is not within a process of bidding and putting those airports up for sale, because we're aware that yes, COVID did strike and we did not have as much traffic and human flow within that particular region. So a lot of them did go under financial constraints. However, we are in the process of rebuilding those particular airports and ensuring that they are continuing to contribute to economic activity within their particular regions. So Heidi, nothing is for sale at this particular moment.
So we know that investors have, of course, knocked on the door of the minister to acquire a certain stake in ACSA. Is this going to, however, be a consideration? So, of course, not the whole of ACSA will be up for sale, but if investors have said they want a specific stake in ACSA, is this something that the ministry is going to consider?
Not at this particular point in time, Heidi, because we're aware that, ACSA is a state-owned entity, and so therefore it is 75% of that stake is owned by the department, and the rest of the 25% is then spread across various other anchors of the state. So at this particular point in time, Minister has welcomed the negotiations by investors and the interest that they have shown in rebuilding the institution as well as the airports, the regional airports that they have expressed interest in. However, we have vocalized to them as well that at this particular point in time, we cannot sell off a particular portion of the entity to anyone.
Okay, I'm slightly confused. Maybe I don't understand how this process works. But if there is a discussion that's currently had and if investors have shown interest, is the minister sitting around a table with them and having this discussion? Is it more of a wait and see? Is this going to be applicable? Are we interested in selling? At what price will we be selling? Is it just a conversation for now? Because the perception that's out there is that investors have shown interest and there could possibly be a sale of a stake of ACSA.
Heidi, can you hear me? I lost you there for some time.
Yes, I can hear you. Let me just repeat my question. I'm just slightly confused because if you have investors that are showing interest in a stake of ACSA, however many airports it might be or whatever it might be, is it at this stage just a conversation that the minister's having with these investors to see what could possibly come out of it? Or is it to say these investors actually want this much and we are going to consider? Because I think there's a lot of confusion around the fact that there's been interest from investors, but the minister's saying they're not selling at this stage. So what is actually going on? Is it just a conversation?
So the minister at this current point in time has not engaged the investors. However, he has directed them to ACSA to ensure that there is a relationship that is potentially built with regard to how it is that they could assist the SOE in rebuilding following the COVID era, because they had expressed interest, particularly within regional airports, that we are aware of the fact that they are currently experiencing great financial strains because, as I had stated prior, there's been very little economic activity happening within those particular areas. So the minister has said that ACSA is devoted to recovering, and if the investors want to come on board, they can come on board as a partner in rebuilding the institution, but no stake of ACSA from a regional and a national perspective is currently on the line.
Okay, I'm going to throw you in the deep end, Lwazi. I want to ask you about the state of a number of airports. Recently, we saw that fire breaking out at OR Tambo International Airport, where a number of aircraft actually caught up in flames. And there has been an overall concern about the state of airports. As the Ministry of Transport, are you looking into this, and are you calling in ACSA to make sure that this does not happen again and these airports are maintained?
Definitely, Heidi. Minister has expressed the great concerns with regards to what had transpired at OR Tambo, and we are looking into basically ensuring that ACSA continues to rebuild and ensure that the airports that are currently operational and functional are kept in tip-top shape. I mean, we were recently awarded the Skytrax Awards, which basically is an aviation award ceremony that awarded Cape Town International Airport best airport in Africa, followed by OR Tambo, and the third one was King Shaka. So I think that we are currently at a point where the three main airports have basically been upkept. However, we are aware that there are shortfalls in various aspects, and Minister has implored upon ACSA to please ensure that there are such loopholes do not because they pose threat to national key points, which are the airports of this country. So Minister has expressed that there must be added effort to ensure that the airports are safe and accessible to all.